Crypt Keepers, thank you for tuning into Amy's Crypt. Firstly, Happy New Year guys. Welcome to 2020. I am really excited for this year because I have a lot of big plans, enormous locations, and some really cool content in the works for you guys. But I thought that I would kick off the new year with a really cool location. I'm going to take you guys to visit one of the new 7 wonders of the world to explore the ghosts of Machu Picchu and find out if this site is really haunted. I was lucky enough to visit Machu Picchu during my travels through Peru, and I cannot believe that I've waited this long to share this place with you guys. This is one of the most truly beautiful, incredible sites that you can see anywhere in the world. I would also definitely describe Machu Picchu as looking haunting. When you take a look at it and you just see all the stone ruins scattered across the mountaintop, and then there's that thick blanket of grey fog that hangs super low, this place definitely looks like it stepped right out of a paranormal horror film. I think I came on the best day because this fog, it makes it look so much creepier, plus you can barely see the tourists. Just a little bit of history before we get too deep into the ghost stories though. Machu Picchu is a 15th century citadel that sits very high up in the Andes. It was built by the ancient Incas and its name roughly translates into Old Mountain. It is believed that Machu Picchu was built sometime in the 1450s to the 1460s, and it was built by a couple of Incan rulers. Now there is a bit of debate as to what Machu Picchu actually is. No one really knows what its purpose is, but archaeologists are pretty sure that this was just a royal retreat. It was actually built solely for these leaders. Sadly, at some point Machu Picchu did become abandoned, but it also got pretty lucky because it's a sky-high citadel. It was very well hidden, and for that reason it's actually incredibly intact. Now when the Spanish did come through Peru, a lot of the ancient sites such as Machu Picchu were damaged and looted, so Machu Picchu did incredibly well to stay hidden for so long. It wasn't officially rediscovered again until the early 1900s, and then it was brought back onto the world stage, and obviously this sparked a lot of interest from a lot of people, and even still today it is an incredibly popular tourist destination. I can't say I blame anyone for wanting to visit because Machu Picchu is just absolutely fascinating as well as just strikingly beautiful. So a lot of the stone buildings, these ruins that we see left behind today, were various types of buildings. A lot of them would have been dwellings and homes for the many servants that had to upkeep Machu Picchu. You'll also see a lot of very steep terraces, and these were used for agriculture and would have taken a lot of work to maintain. And then there's also these sites that were very important to religion and ceremony, so there are numerous temples around the site also. This actually brings me into the first ghost story of Machu Picchu, and that is that a lot of people have claimed to see Inca priests getting about, in particular near these temples. The people who have said that they have seen these priests usually say that they're wearing some kind of traditional dress and going about as if it looks like they're still conducting a ceremony. Now I personally don't know what the traditional Inca dress for a priest would look like, but I'm sure it would really stick out like a sore thumb because there are a lot of people at Machu Picchu, but it is your typical kind of tourist. Everyone there is pretty much wearing a fluoro-colored puff jacket. While I cannot say that I actually came into contact with one of these priests or even had my own paranormal experience at Machu Picchu, I did pick up some really weird activity on my camera. So I took a lot of photos there, and I think you guys can understand why. But a lot of my photos, a large amount of them, were actually messed up, like they were corrupt or something. I'll show a bunch of them for you guys on screen, but you'll see that they're just broken somehow. Now this is definitely abnormal behavior for my camera. This is the same camera that I've traveled with all over the world, and I've never seen this amount of messed up photos come through it. It's the same camera, same memory card that I've always been using, and this is really strange. Interestingly, and adding to the strangeness of these photos, none of the footage that I took on this particular camera was messed up. It all came out normal as it should. And I was using the same camera for all of these photos and the footage that you see in this video at this point in AmysCrypt life, because this was very, very early on in my journey. I only had one camera. Now, some of you might actually remember or recall another episode that I did at the Golden Fleece Inn, which is in York, England, where I did get a lot of corrupt footage. And in this haunted location, I actually messed up the footage specifically. None of my photos, just the footage. So this one is kind of the other way around. It just messed with the photos and none of my video. I still cannot tell you guys that this was paranormal though. I do have to admit it was a very rainy day, the day that we actually visited Machu Picchu, which you guys can probably tell from a lot of the footage that you're seeing on screen. I also recall Jared was particularly like angry and grisly about it all that day, but he was fine. You having a good time there, Jared? I did do my best to keep my camera out of the weather and the rain, but who knows, maybe there was a bit of moisture that got in there or a tiny little rain droplet, and maybe that messed with the photos somehow. I am incredibly impressed with this camera though. I do not know how it is still alive after all of the places that I've taken it to. This camera has gone for a lot, guys. Another paranormal occurrence that I want to discuss here with you guys is actually not something that happens at Machu Picchu, but something that happens to people along the Inca Trail. And this is actually a trek that people take, which starts in Cuzco and goes all the way up to Machu Picchu. It's a pretty intense hike and it goes for a couple of days. So these paranormal reports tend to happen when people make camp for the night. So they go to sleep for the night, and it's very, very common for people to wake up from their sleep gasping for breath as if they are being strangled. And the ghost story here is that it is believed that there are actually Incan warriors along the trail that strangle people in their sleep. So this is pretty terrifying to think of. Imagine waking up in the middle of the night and you are being strangled by a warrior. Now, I did not personally hike up the Inca Trail. I would have loved to, but I found out too late in my journey that you actually need to book months in advance to be able to do this trek. And that didn't really work with my travel schedule because I kind of just plan things day to day when I travel. I did have a pretty strange and similar experience though during my trip that I can talk to, and which might actually help explain why people are having this collective paranormal experience. So my experience with this actually happened to me while I was in Cuzco, and this is where the start of the Inca Trail is. It's usually recommended to travelers as well that want to go up to Machu Picchu, spend a few days in Cuzco, because it might take you a little while to get used to the altitude. And altitude sickness is a real thing and it can hit some people very hard, and it certainly hit me very hard. So when I arrived, I already had the flu, and then I got incredibly ill. I was actually bedridden for a few days. One of the common symptoms of altitude sickness as well is a very bad shortness of breath, and this can actually affect your sleep. So picture falling asleep and then waking up in the middle of the night gasping for air. And this is actually because there is a lot less oxygen in the air up there. It is a lot thinner. So while you're asleep, you're just breathing as you normally do, then your brain will freak out, oh my gosh, I'm not getting enough oxygen, and it will wake you up. And it is intense and it is very scary, but that kind of thing only lasts for a couple of days while your lungs adjust, and then you learn how to breathe differently to get more oxygen to your brain. Now, this waking up gasping for air actually happened to me numerous times, and yeah, it is pretty scary, but it also makes me think about all of the visitors hiking the Inca Trail to go up to Machu Picchu. Maybe a lot of them are suffering from altitude sickness as well. So they are hearing a lot about the Inca people as they hike this trail. They're in there really experiencing it, and then they get to these certain camps where they hear about these ghost stories about, you know, people being strangled by this Inca warrior, and then when they fall to sleep, that is on their mind, and then when they wake up gasping for air, it does kind of feel as though you're being strangled. Now, I'm not here to debunk this or dismiss anybody else's paranormal experiences, but this is something very, very interesting to ponder. And who knows, maybe it is all in everybody's heads and this becomes a collective experience. Or maybe this oxygen deprived sleep state actually makes people more susceptible to having this paranormal experience. So I'd love to know what your guys' thoughts are about this in the comments below. Maybe you've hiked the Inca Trail and had a similar experience, or a different kind of experience. Or maybe even something at Machu Picchu. Maybe you've seen something, heard something. Whatever it is, I would really, really be interested to know about it. Now, I know some of you might be a little bit disappointed that I didn't actually do a paranormal investigation here, but it is really, really difficult to do something like that. This is one of the most visited sites in Peru and even the world. There is a lot of people here, like an incredible amount of people. You just can't even believe it. I do my best with all my shots to keep people out of them, but I'm sure a lot of them are going to sneak through into this footage. This was even so early on in my AmysCrypt journey. As I said before, I only had the one camera. Jared and I hadn't even come up with the idea and invented ghost tube yet. Like, we were just kind of traveling, going about whatever it was that we were doing. I also just want to make a note as well. This footage is very old, and as I've said many times already, I only had the one camera, so the footage might not be as smooth or as nice as it is in my more recent videos, and that's just because this has been a massive learning curve for me, guys. I've learned so much about editing, filming, just being on camera even. There's so much to learn to make a video just to pop up on YouTube, but that might be why some of the footage doesn't look as smooth or as nice and polished as it does these days. I have worked very, very hard to improve everything that I do. I want to make AmysCrypt as good as I possibly can. So I guess this is a cool clip to show you guys, and just maybe you can appreciate how far we've come with it all. Now, I really do hope that you guys did enjoy this video. I know that it is a little bit different to the content that I usually create, but I love this place. I just think it's magic. This is one of the new 7 wonders of the world. It's not every day, you know, you get to visit a place like this, so I really just wanted to share it on my channel so we can experience it together. It's really cool to do stuff like this. So I hope that you guys kind of appreciate it. There has been a couple of other wonders of the world that you guys might remember on my channel. I've also visited Chichen Itza in Mexico and the Roman Colosseum in Italy. I also have another one in India, the Taj Mahal, so if you guys are interested in seeing a video on that place, please drop me a comment below and please let me know. Now, if you did enjoy this video, please remember to like, comment, share and subscribe. If you want to do a little bit more reading about Machu Picchu or any of the other haunted locations that I have visited, head to AmysCrypt.com. You guys can also keep up with what I'm doing at AmysCrypt on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for watching, Crypt Keepers. Until next time.